Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to you, wherever you're watching around the world. You are joining the Formula 2 e-performance in the Invictus Racing League. I'm Energy Dan, I'll be your host and commentator this evening. Unfortunately, the Welsh wonder, James, isn't here today, but I do have the pleasure of bringing in one of our other Invictus commentators, our friend from across the pond, Tim. Tim, how you doing, mate?
I'm doing fine tonight, Dan. How are you doing? I'm excited to watch Silverstone.
Oh, so am I, mate. So am I, especially after last week's disappointing cancellation. I'm also very excited to do commentary with you, mate. It's always nice to have a new face in the comms box, so also looking forward to that, mate.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm happy to work with you, Dan. Normally, I'm watching you from the other side of the fence while you're on the track, so it's nice to see a little bit of a behind-the-scenes action here at F2.
Yeah, it's brilliant, mate. Yeah, it's been a pleasure having you guys commentate on the Realistic Performance League as well. But coming on to Silverstone, of course, mate. It's an iconic circuit. Is it one that you enjoy, particularly watching or driving?
I actually do. I like driving around the track and I like watching it just because, well, I mean, first of all, it's Silverstone. It's very historic, but also it's, I guess for lack of better words, at least from the driving aspect, it's one that I've found fairly easy for me in comparison to other tracks like Singapore, Monaco, or even Sochi, to where, you know, I struggle on some tracks, but on Silverstone I kind of like it. And as far as watching it, you know, it really does, there's no shortage of action watching the drivers at Silverstone, so I definitely love that.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Now, obviously, we have still got a title fight going on in Formula 2. We have got the Renault boys, which obviously secured the Constructors' Championship last week, but the Drivers' Championship is still all up for grabs. So this is going to be super interesting. I was just watching Rimac come out the pits on his installation lap. Now, before we kicked off, we were talking about what could happen today. Now, Jacob needs to outscore his teammate by 9 points to secure this. He's actually 23 points ahead of RG, with Huntari 4 points behind. Now, I hate tempting fate with the commentator's curse, Tim, but if Jacob happens to not score points with RG and Huntari scoring good points, then that brings the title fight all the way to the last race of the season, which is, of course, Monaco, which would be nerve-wracking to say the least, Tim.
And that's one that I don't want to miss. I likely won't be in the commentator booth with you at Monaco, but I will be watching if I can, because especially if the title fight carries over, because that is something that I really want to watch, is a title battle be decided at Monaco of all places.
Yeah, it would be a very interesting finale to the season. I mean, it's been an amazing season, season 10, absolutely fantastic. It's been some really exciting races. Weather's played part of it, obviously a couple of crashes here and there. So yeah, it's super exciting, nail-biting stuff, Tim. I'm really intrigued to see today if we're going to have a dry qualifying and dry race. It does look dry for qualifying though, but it is the UK. You never know what's going to happen. So just on board with Rimac now, he's about to start his first flying lap. Just see him racing down now towards the village, and they're tackling the loop. Now, of course, the infamous Wellington straight here. So I don't know about you, Tim, but these next two corners I always struggle with. Very difficult to get right.
They really are, because, you know, it's such a quick transition. First you're turning left, then you're just really immediately turning right. You want to get your car to the outside of the track going into that right-hander, but it's so difficult because the car is just naturally understeering, you know, just pushing coming out of the corner.
Yeah. I mean, I've just noticed as well, I've not put the tyre choice on. I'll just quickly do that, fitted. So, but quite a few guys choosing the softs, which is, ooh, sorry. Ryback nearly went off there. That is nail-biting stuff. But yeah, so the guys are probably going to do a soft to medium or a soft to hard. Obviously, if there are incidents, it gives people opportunity to put a fresh set on. But yeah, the one stop is quite achievable here.
Yeah, and yeah, as you were saying, the mediums to hards are a really good strategy, because we were talking about it before the race, and you know, really the only scenario that we could see any driver going for soft tires is if there was a late race safety car.
Yeah, of course. Ah, right. Mr. Steen has just beaten Rimac, and Huntari's just beaten Rimac as well. So Mr. Steen, provisional pole, 127.103. Huntari, 5,000 slower on a 127.108. We've got a bit of a Fucky Good. He's gone off. He's in the field with the cows at the minute. Yeah, then we've got Nightshades, 127.361. Delange, 128.351 on the medium. Let's see what we've got coming across the line now. Who's next? Matty, maybe. Yeah, Matty goes into 5th on a 128.019. So these softs really are helping the guys out. So Mr. Steen, sorry, go on, Tim.
Oh no, I'm fine. I was just saying that Jim the Gunner, I was going to take a look at him as he was on a flying lap. However, he hasn't validated his lap, so he's not going to be able to set a fast lap this time. Maybe pull into the pits, get a fresh set of tires, and try it again.
Yeah, I mean, he was on hards, Tim, so he's probably just struggling with heating those tyres. They are rather difficult to get warmed up, so that's probably one of the reasons why he's... Oh no, we've actually lost Jim. It's unfortunate. Let's see what... Arby's, true to form, has gone into provisional pole, 127.012. Now, based on that time, Tim, do you think we could see the sub-127s?
That I could, actually. I do believe that we could get down to at least a 126.8, maybe a little bit faster. Who knows what some of these guys have got cooking up under their sleeve, but with that time so early in this qualifying session, I'd say that I'd honestly be surprised if we didn't see under 127.
Yeah, I mean, the track does evolve, especially on circuits like Silverstone, where you're pretty much constantly turning the steering wheel. You're never really ever on a straight, other than the Hangar or the Wellington straight. The car is always moving left or right, which obviously loads the tyres up quite a lot. So yeah, the track evolution is going to play a big part. So 126.6, 126.7, I think is more than achievable.
Currently, we only have a few drivers who have not set a time, that being Meg Luckby, RG, Jim Lipinski, who unfortunately has retired from the session, and Ferocious Dan. And it looks like Nightshades is also retired from the session, so not sure if he's just decided that enough was enough or what happened there.
Yeah, not entirely sure myself. So RG's in the pit. I think Jacob's out on his mediums. I think, is he doing an in-lap? I think he will be doing an in-lap. Yeah, he's plus 4 seconds. And then behind him, I think maybe CPI Alex could be on a fast lap. No. We seem to be getting quite a lot of people leaving the session, Tim. I hope this isn't an issue with the PlayStation Network.
I do as well. I mean, I guess we're going to have to find out.
Quite a few. Let me just check the message board very quickly. Sorry, guys. Okay, until we get known otherwise, we'll continue. And yeah, that's it. I think everyone's quit. I think that might be a restart, Tim. So bear with us, guys. We will keep the stream going. Obviously, the session will restart, though. Yeah.
Well, until then, we saw a little bit of a sneak preview of what we're going to see tonight.
Yeah. I've actually now disconnected myself from the session, Tim, so I think that will be a restart, mate. So we will keep this rolling until we get the invitations. But, yeah, interesting slight little pre-look, as you said, you know, little sneak preview of what we've got coming. I think Arby's will be fuming over that because he popped his little head into first place, or provisional first place there. And then we had network issues, so very unfortunate.
Hopefully, for his sake, he can at least go and set another fast time like he already did.
Yeah, hopefully. There we go, just joining back up. I take it you need another invite?
Yeah, I might need some spare ones.
Yep. So I think there's a couple of drivers there that might have been relieved for in a bit of relief for the restart of that session. I think we saw, I won't mention any names, but we saw one or two not completing the first lap. So you know, it's frustrating for some drivers, but probably a little bit of a strike of luck for others.
Perhaps. One thing's for sure, though, is that this does give the drivers a little bit of an extra practice session, I guess, because I'm sure that they've been practicing all week in preparation for Silverstone. But nonetheless, it gave them a quick little sprint practice of sorts to kind of see what their car is doing and, if a certain tire compound worked, because, as you mentioned, we had at least one driver go out there on the hards. I highly doubt that he's going to set a pole time with the hards, but nonetheless, it helps him learn the track a little bit more and helps him know what his car is going to do on hard tires.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of guys in F2 tend to go out with a couple of laps or 3 laps on the hards. We've always speculated that that's more to do with getting a feel for the circuit and just warming up and getting the mindset of qualifying. I tend to do that myself when I can. But yeah, just looking now at our settings, it says weather, light cloud, so I've got a sneaky feeling that means that the qualifying and race is going to be dry. Otherwise it would be custom weather. Whether that speculation is correct, Tim, I don't know. We'll soon find out, though.
Well, I'm sure that the drivers would prefer a dry circuit. I know I, for one, hate driving around a wet circuit. I'm not sure about you, but it's definitely a lot easier to control the car when you actually have grip underneath you.
Oh, of course. I mean, it is easier, but I do like the challenge of wet running.
That is one thing that that it brings, is it's a challenge for the drivers, and it's very entertaining to watch. I will say that much because, in the realistic performances we were talking about just before this race, we had some rain in Singapore and Monza during the season, and, you were saying that it was rough because it adds an additional bit of strategy to the race, because not only are you worrying about a soft, medium, hard compound tire, now you're worrying, okay, well, do I pit for intermediates, do I pit for full wets, and if it's supposed to dry up, when do I pit for the dry tires?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, that's what I slipped up in Singapore, and I actually went 1 lap too late, and it absolutely ruined my strategy. So it's kind of proving your point there, Tim. Yeah, it is difficult. But yeah, with the wet running, I think the extra challenge is good. But you see a lot of people that are normally up the front of the field can often drop down 4 or 5 places. Some people prefer the driving in the wet, some people dry. Just some people have a natural talent for driving in the wet.
And it's a talent that sadly I don't possess. At least the last time I got onto a wet circuit, I certainly didn't. It's because it does just bring a whole new mess of challenges. But nonetheless, as we've said, it's fun to watch, and it's a great equalizer because, as you said, the drivers, some of them that are usually in the back of the pack can kind of work their way up to the front a little bit, and vice versa.
Yeah. Of course, yeah. Well, what we'll do, Tim, just while we're waiting for the guys to finally get ready for the restart, I'm going to run through the full standings for any of our viewers that are watching their beloved drivers or their favourite drivers. So, as mentioned, we've got Jacob running the championship at 97 points. His teammate RG is on 74 points, and nipping at his heels is Ontari in 3rd place with 70 points. We've then got RBs, who we just saw take provisional pole. He's on 53 points. Just behind him is Delange. He's on 45 points. Then we've got Fukigod on 44. Tied with him is Lipensky, also on 44. Just nipping at his heels is CP Alex on 41. On 35, we've got Reshka. On 32 is Rymak. Aaron J, who's absent today, is on 29. 20 points is Tanker. Then we've got Meg Luppi on 13. Tied with him is Ferocious Dan. Then we've got TB on 12, and we've got Mashiro, one of our newer drivers, on 11 points, and then we have MJ Coop on 8. Also on 8 points is one of our old drivers, actually. He's now left, and then Nightshades on 6 points. Mr. Steen, he scored 4 times, 4 times this season. He's actually on 3 points. Then we have Tony Y, who's not here anymore, and Jim Laguna on 2, and also Sab on 2. We do need to see Matty score points. He's got 2 races to score some points. I really hope we can see Matty score some points either today or next week, Tim.
Yeah, and that would be good for him. That would be ideal. Where I'm used to the Realistic Performance League, where everyone gets points. It's a little bit of a different ball game for me over here, so it really makes the championship standings that much more stressful, I would imagine, for the drivers, because they know that that they might not be able to pick up any points in the race.
Yeah, I mean that is the big difference. I think in the realistic performance as well, if you have a bit of a bad strategy call, you can catch yourself and you can still push for some points. Where it's all about finishing in the top 10 in F2 and F3, and in F1 of course.
So
here we go. Round second attempt at this, Tim.
Yep. Momentarily, we will be able to see some drivers get out at this. Hopefully, it'll be the second and final attempt, because I'm sure that these drivers just want to hurry up, get their lap times in, and then start the race.
Yeah, I think it does look unfortunate. I think we might have been missing 2 drivers there, Tim. I'm sure we had 17 before, but the show must go on, unfortunately. Let's see if we can see who comes out first.
I believe one of the drivers we are missing is one who is in the championship hunt of RG.
RG. Oh no. I'm literally lost for words, Tim. I really am lost for words. Who have we got? I think that is Mr. Steen. Yeah, Mr. Steen is out on track now.
Yeah, RG could, though, be waiting in the wings, so he may not be able to participate in the qualifying session, but he might still be able to start at the back of the race.
Yeah, on fresh tyres as well, so possibly not a massively bad thing. It's just, I'm sure he's going to be stressing now. I mean, unfortunately, these PSN issues do happen from time to time, which is unfortunate. But selfishly, from a commentator's point of view, that could add some serious fuel to the fire today.
That it could. And what would you do as far as a tire strategy if you had to start at the back of the field like that?
I'd probably reverse the strategy and do medium softs. It's difficult to say because, yeah, I mean, with the mediums, you'd be able to capitalise on a safety car, an early safety car, because then you could jump the field. If I was starting on mediums, I'd want a safety car to come out maybe lap 5 or lap 6, when the guys on softs are in that moment where they kind of hurt themselves if they stay out, or give up positions if they come in. So yeah, if he gets a lap 5, lap 6 safety car, the mediums will be able to jump the people that pit, still have enough life in those tyres to try and push on again, and then just try and switch to the softs as late as possible.
See, I was thinking that you could do, and I'm not sure how well this would work, but assuming that there are no safety cars, perhaps a soft to hard strategy. It would be a bit unorthodox, but the softs could help you keep pace with the pack. You just have to pit sooner, but by pitting for the hards, you could stay out much, much longer and hopefully make up the ground lost.
Yeah, I mean, it's not uncommon to do the soft to hard, Tim. I think a lot of the F2 boys, I think last season they did, was it Silverstone last season? I can get confused by seasons, but yeah, the soft to hard strategy is a well-known one round here. So yeah, you very well may see that strategy, Tim. The only problem with the hards, of course, is getting them warm when you first put them on. You're probably quite vulnerable for 3 laps or 2 laps.
I always compared it to driving on ice as soon as you put those tires on.
Yeah, I really struggle with hards, Tim. I don't know about yourself whenever you were racing, but yeah, I do not get on well with the hards.
The hards are not my best friend, I am sad to say.
Let's just put on tyres. There we go. Full track lap.
Oh, and we've got a car off into the grass. It was Nightshades. I don't think there's any damage. He might have tried to have let the Toro Rosso, I do believe that is either Alex or Ferocious Dan, he might have been trying to let them by, but it looked like he might have misjudged how far he had to pull over, and now he's going off into the grass again, so not sure what's going on. He is actually pitting, so Nightshade has decided to pit instead.
Tim, we did see Arby's go back up into pole. He has done a sub 27, so he's on 126.924. Then we've got Mr. As we say that, Rymac's gone even faster with a 126.855.
Rymac's not playing around with that 126.85. That is a good time from Rymac, definitely trying to show that, hey, I am fast here. I can win this race. And Arby's, he was a really good time there at the beginning, so he's got plenty of time to get back to the pole, but as you said, he might be fuming now because he had a pole in the last qualifying session. Now he's in third.
Just on board with MJ Coupe as well now, Tim. He's on the soft tyre. He's currently on a fast lap. Just see what he can do. It's going to be a little bit slower. I mean, MJ Coupe is no assist this season. I think he's just starting. Oh, he's on a fast lap now. I do apologise. Oh, who was that going off then? Huntari. Oh, no, Penske it might have been. Let's see if we've got Reshka. Sorry about flicking through. Reshka coming across the line with a 127.552. So a little bit slower than his teammate. You know, good 3/10 slower than Rimac. Let's see where Jacob is. Jacob's currently in sector 2, coming through Maggots, just ending Maggots and Beckett's.
Looks like he tried to get a little bit of a slipstream off of Delange there.
Yeah, and well, every little helps, Tim.
Hey, that it definitely does. That racing is a motorsport where seconds, even milliseconds, literally matter. So that will definitely help him just a little bit, but we'll see what time he lays down here on the board as he crosses the line. A 127.222 on the board, so that's good enough for 6th at the time being, and that's on the medium tires.
Wow, that's rapid for Jacob. Now, you only get one set of mediums no matter what tyre strategy you use, so that's his really only attempt, unless he wants to take another couple of laps of life out of those to do another one. So I don't think we'll see him do another one. I think I'd be happy with 6th starting on the mediums. I don't know about you, Tim, but you definitely got to go a little bit longer, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, I would be happy starting with 6 on the mediums, but of course I would try to pit for softs and set a faster time. But I think it's just a matter of, you know, what tire does he want to start on? Because where he's starting right now in 6th, that would definitely put him starting on the medium tire. So if he wants to go to mediums and you know, and then go to the hard tires, then qualifying on mediums would obviously be the way to go. Otherwise, we're seeing most drivers, in fact, all but Jacob, choose the soft tires.
Yeah, we've got 3 drivers left now, Tim, to set fast laps. We've got Nightshades, Mashiro and Lipinski. Nightshades is out in the Racing Point on the soft tyre, as is Mashiro and is Lipinski. Nightshades setting his purple sector 1. So it looks like he's going to get a bit of a tour. Coming off of, is it CP Alex just in front? He's pulled off the track, yep.
I'm currently watching Mashiro as he is just about to approach Maggots and Beckett's. Of course, this is just his out lap, though, so he will have another lap. So he's just trying to get heat in his tires. Going to Nightshades now to take a look at how his lap time is going, as he is just now entering the 3rd sector. So momentarily, we'll see where he winds up on the board. This is where he actually went off track a little bit ago. So obviously not going off track there, hanging on to it very well. Going maybe a little bit wide, but hanging on to it as he uses up every bit of the runoff area.
Yeah, I think that was borderline to avoid his lap time there, but he's got back to come across the line. He comes across in 7th place, 127.323, and MJ Coupe, who's jumped up there? Mashiro, Tim, TG Mashiro jumped up into 1st place with a 126.820, 35 thousandths quicker than Rimac.
And that is a good time from Mashiro. It was telling me that he was on his out lap, so
it was me as well,
that
mate.
is a surprise.
Yeah, that's why it surprised me. It was showing on our telemetry as out lap as well. So let's just see who we've got. Bensky, I think the first person. Let's just check Rimac. Yeah, he's on an out lap. He's on an out lap, but I'm going to stay with him just in case he's not. Yeah, it looks like Rimac, Huntari. Albies is around there. Let's just check with Reshka. Outlap as well. Yeah, so I'm going to jump on with Rimac for now, unless we can see anyone that's further ahead than Rimac, Tim.
I do not. I'm currently just watching CPI Alex as he's finishing his out lap, though. So he will try to start a fast lap momentarily. Currently, his best time is only good enough for 14th with a 1:27.7, so he's going to be looking to improve on that within the next 8.5 minutes.
Yeah, as we said that as well, Tim, we've just seen that Jacob has actually come out on softs now, abandoning that medium tyre. Ferocious Dan is currently sitting in 11th place on a 1:27.594. Arby's has just gone fastest with a 1:26.717, Tim.
Wow, that is a good time from Arby's. That is actually a quicker time than what I expected us to see. You said that you could definitely see a 1:26.6, maybe a 1:26.7, but I didn't think that we'd get any quicker than the 1:26.8. So Arby's making a liar out of me there, but a good time from him. And Mr. Steen as well with the 1:26.775, good enough for second in that Williams.
This is fantastic. This is really good stuff. Now I'm really intrigued to see what Rimac can do, because he's just coming round the final corner now. Club corner. Let's see what he could do. Oh, 1:27. Oh, 1,000th of a second, Tim. 1,000th.
And that just goes to show how close these drivers are on pace.
Unbelievable, mate. Really is.
But a good time for Rimac nonetheless. I'd say that he's probably just a little bit mad about that, though.
Yeah, I think he would be as well, mate. I think we might have CPI Alex next. Where's he gone? There he is. No, he's invalidated.
Oh.
I think he had a bit of a moment there.
That's unfortunate for Alex. I actually was watching him, and he struggled going into turn 1 on this, on his last lap. So it looks like he's struggling around Silverstone.
MJ Cube 1:28.515 must have been his outlap, surely. So yeah, we're just on board with MJ Cube at the minute. I'm just going to quickly check see if we've got anyone else that's staying out. I think it might be Jacob. Yeah, Jacob about to come around club corner now. He was up by half a second. Oh, he goes first with a 1:26.686.
Wow,
fantastic stuff.
That goes to show that he wants this championship, and he's making sure that everyone knows that he is a contender.
Yeah, definitely. See, I just wish we had RG in the mix, mate. I really do. It's always nice to have guys battling it out for the championship. So hopefully we do have him for the race.
Now, if RG did not race today, would Jacob clinch?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, he'd only have to score 9 points.
So RG, his championship hopes are actually riding on him making the race today. So I would imagine he's going to do everything he can to do so. But one thing I want to point out as far as these lap times is that we were so surprised to see TTG Mashiro rocket to the top of the board. That was with a 1:26.8. That's still his best lap. He's on a fast lap right now, so he's going to try to improve on that. But in the matter of, 3, maybe 4 laps, the driver who shocked us by rocketing to the top of the board has now dropped all the way down to 6th.
Yeah, of course, mate, yeah. And the one thing I've just noticed as well, Tim, is from 1st all the way down to 15th, there is less than a second separating the field.
That is actually magnificent. I did not notice that until you mentioned it, but that is so close. That is almost unheard of, I do believe, at least in Invictus.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen it that close, to be honest with you. I mean, they might get that on some circuits for the Formula 1 League. But yeah, I've never really seen it within a second in F2, not that I recall anyway. So this is going to be an exciting race, Tim.
That it is. Currently, I'm still watching Mashiro as he's just now going through the 3rd sector. So he's about to bypass the pit lane momentarily. We'll see if he will be able to improve his time. I'm not so sure he's got enough in the tank to challenge Jacob with a 1:26.6, but we'll see what happens as he rounds the final corner.
He was up 2/10, mate. Oh, he has 1:26.5!
Wow, now that is a good lap from Mashiro, making a liar out of me yet again. That was amazing.
Tim, that's nearly 2/10 quicker than Jacob, so where Mashiro, our Japanese driver, has got his pace from there is amazing. So brilliant stuff. That could very well rock the balance of this race.
That it could, and Mashiro, he's trying to show that, hey, you know, I'm quick. So Mashiro might be one that we want to watch here today.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so.
Looks like Mr. Steen has just went out for his out lap, so he's just now approaching Sector 2. He'll start a lap momentarily. We also have Rashika, who is in 9th right now. His best time, a 127.2. He's on his out lap and going through the second sector as well. So a few drivers just trying to go for broke here in the last 3 minutes and make sure that they can get a fast lap. We also have down in 14th, Delange, who was on his out lap with a 127.5. Nightshades looks like he's on a flying lap, so his best time is a 127.3. Do you think he's going to improve on that?
No, not this lap, because as I flicked to him a second ago before you give him the rundown, Tim, he voided his lap.
I actually can see that now. That is a red mini-map of a circuit, so he's going to be really mad about that. So will he try and fix it? It looks like he is going to go for another flying lap, so we'll see here soon if he can improve.
It's going to be tight as well, so just on board with Ferocious Dan as he comes round the final corner, and he comes across the line. 127.267, it's enough for 11th place. Mr. Steen. Mr. Steen's found some good form today. Yeah, really good to see Mr. Steen up with the front runners here.
Yeah, that he has. It's looking really good for him so far. 126.775 is his best lap, and he's going to try to improve on that. We'll see if he's able to. I think he's a little bit faster that time through the first sector than he was on his best lap, so we'll see how it works out for him as he goes through the second sector.
Yeah, I mean, he's only 2.5 tenths off pole position if you think of it like that. So yeah, I mean, the times between Mashiro all the way down to Huntari, less than 3 tenths separates them.
So it's definitely doable. It shows that he's got the pace, because I really don't think that the positions do it justice to show just how close these times are. Mashiro is a bit of an outlier, but as you pointed out, what was first to 15th, now second to 15th, there's less than a second separating those drivers, and Mashiro being that one outlier of going, you know, almost a full 10th quicker, or even more so, than Jacob.
Yeah. It's just because of Mashiro's lap, actually, we've just been pushed a little bit over that 1 second mark. Now, if Lipensky and Delange can improve slightly, that'll bring it back within that 1 second, but even 1.1 seconds is very impressive.
It very much is impressive, and we have only 35 seconds remaining in this session, so if anyone's going to improve, they're going to have to do it right now.
There they are. Oh, looks like Mr. Steen's backed off. Looks like Mr. Steen's backed off. Right, so let's go to Rimac. So we've got Rimac is coming through the loop. We've got Arby's behind him. Jacob's gone quick. It's 126.484. Wow.
An impressive time from Jacob, yet again showing just how strong he is here today.
This is unreal. So now the track's evolved. Do you think you could see No, Mashiro can't. Mashiro's invalidated. Mashiro's invalidated his final attempt. That means Arby's and Rimac are probably the next contenders for that. We've got Rimac just coming through Sector 2, and Arby's is behind him, I think. Yeah, so Rimac. Let's stay on board with Rimac. Just coming up to Maggots and Beckett's now. This must be a very intense lap for Rimac.
Yeah, because he knows what's on the line here. He could very well start on the pole position if he can just play his cards right here. He's trying everything he can, but did he invalidate it?
No! Rimac! He's going to be kicking himself there, because I think Arby's, let's see what he gets. He's coming through Sector 3 now. Will he come in the pits and abandon? No, he's not. This could be quick. No. Oh, no, he stays third. Does improve, but stays third place with a times off. 126.649 for Arby's. Wow.
Still a good time, a very good time from Arby's.
Yeah, it is a very good time, and much quicker than what I could achieve round here, Tim.
Probably quicker than what I could achieve, I'll say that much.
So yeah, a very exciting qualifying for our F2 performance drivers. The one thing I've noticed this round, Tim, that you won't be acquainted to is the Mercedes boys of Rimac and Reschke used to pretty much ride 1 and 2 on the outlaps to try and get a tour, but they've not been doing that today. So maybe it's not a circuit for doing that, but yeah, there's a definitive difference today between Rimac and Reschke.
Yeah, and really, there's only a few straightaways that could really benefit you on. Honestly, I am surprised, though, looking at the map and just trying to look at the circuit, I am surprised that they're not at least trying to get a tow, but apparently they just decided against that.
Yeah, it's been interesting to see all this season when they have been doing that. It's always good to see drivers working together. Some drivers do obviously have their communications between each other during the race. We'll come back to that in a sec. So just running down the order there, guys, we've got Jacob, who sitting pretty for that title fight in first place. Then we've got our Japanese driver Mashiro in second place. Arby's is in third. Then Rimac in fourth. We've got Mr. Steen in fifth. Huntari in sixth. We've got Nightshades in seventh. Followed by Meglupi in eighth. MJ Coop in ninth. Reschke in 10th. CPI Alex in 11th. Frostal in 12th. Matty in 13th. DeLange in 14th. Lepensky in 15th. And then if we do get RG, he will start in 16th place. Hopefully we do have our other Renault driver. We will soon find out. So
unless a good qualifying session,
just
giving us a little bit of a sneak peek for the race. It's a bit of an appetizer, you could say.
Yeah, definitely, because the F2 boys have a serious knack for giving us an exciting races, Tim. You will not be disappointed today.
I look forward to it.
So I'm just going to quickly check our message board. Right, I think we're going to try. I think we do have issues with getting RG in. I think the guys are going to try and get him in. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we will have RG.
I hope so as well, just because it would be a shame to see a championship be lost over a technicality rather than, just not being able to live up to what you needed to do. I mean, it's one thing if you go out there, you try your best, but you just can't quite get enough. But if a technicality were to cause you to lose a championship, I just feel like that would be even more so devastating, because at least in the other scenario, you could try, you could put in an effort. Maybe something happens that prevents you from it still, but you still did everything you could. But you can't even control this.
Yeah, I mean, that would be disappointing. So I'm just looking down the board. I can't see RG yet, so I'd be absolutely gutted for him if he can't. So I mean, I don't even want to say what I was about to say, but dare I say that Jacob has an incident and doesn't score any points today? is that just tempting too much fate?
I do believe that would be RG's best scenario to try to win the championship, but the fact, the chances of that happening, I don't know. I mean, especially if he's not racing. Now, it does look like Faki Go was able to get into the race, and we didn't see him in the qualifying session, so he's fine. So apparently RG just will not be able to get into the race, unfortunately. So if Jacob scores points, then he would clinch the champion, or rather, if he scores 9 points, you said he would clinch the championship.
9 points, I think it is, yeah. Really gutted about that. It's unfortunate, but like I say, we do get these technicalities from time to time. We are at the mercy of machines, just like the drivers are.
And, sometimes you just can't do anything about that. Sometimes it's out of your control, and it's just so unfortunate because it's frustrating to have to deal with things that are out of your control like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the best thing about this is at least it's his teammate that will get the championship. But that's what's the best phrase to use? A little lick of the wounds, let's say.
Yeah, it stings a little bit less, but
Yeah.
at the same time, it might eat at you a little bit more because it is your teammate, and you're like, I don't know if they have any kind of personal competition going on or not. I know that, if I was racing with one of my friends out there, that I would probably want to beat them, but, obviously they're teammates, so I doubt that it interfered with their working relationship. But still very unfortunate to see that happen. And, again, as we've been saying, there's still not a guarantee that Jacob's going to clinch this race today, the championship in this race today, because if he crashes out and doesn't score any points, well, then, as you said, it just carries over to Monaco.
Yeah, that's it. I'd be very nervous personally because on worn tyres, especially if you're fighting with someone on track, Maggots and Beckett's can be very, very tricky. Position change. There we go. So the guys are just lining up now. Once we see the last driver at the back of the grid, we'll get the green flag, and then we'll start to see those beautiful red lights. Here we go, guys. We've got 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, and 5 red lights. And they are out, and away we go. It looks like Jacob got a no. Oh, he did get a very good start there. It looks like he's been jumped already by Mashiro. Mashiro's up into first place. Jacob's down at 4th place. So we've got drivers going off. What you got, Tim?
I'm watching Jacob. He spun out into the grass now taking a look at Delange, who is trying to make his way up through a big pack, but in front of him it is Falky God and Maddie, who is just trying to run side by side. In front of them is the 2 Toro Rossos, a Ferocious Dan and CPI Alex running side by side. And Ferocious Dan trying to make a move. There's a little bit of contact between the 2 Toro Rosso cars, but so far so good as Ferocious Dan is just barely behind Alex. Alex trying to do everything he can, but Ferocious Dan just can't quite get to the back of him.
Wow, Fucky goes up 6 places, Tim. That's unreal. He's chasing down Ferocious Dan and CP Alex. But of course, our championship leader, Jacob, is all the way down in 15th place. So maybe the commentator's curse has played a part in that. I'm not sure whether I'm happy or upset about that, Tim.
I don't know, but Jacob, he's going to have to recover quickly if he wants to try to clinch this championship. Remember, it's only 9 points, so he's going to have to do everything he can. It's going to have to be full preservation mode for him from here on out.
It really is, mate. It really is. Now, at the minute, we've got a pretty balanced front runners. They're all over 3/10 or more. This mid-pack and the Williams in the background also having a go. So Fucky God is getting past. Yeah, Fucky God has got past Frustan. Goes down the inside line and he's now getting come back on again. Frustan takes the lead again over him. Looks like these two are going hammer and tongue as we see some people peeling off into the pits for an early pit stop. Looks like we've got Delangate and Matty both early in the pits. I think Jacob is staying out. Yep, Jacob is staying out, so it looks like he doesn't have damage.
Meanwhile, up in 6th place is Huntari trying to make a move on Nightshades. Nightshades is trying to defend, but will he be able to do it? Huntari has the preferred line going to this next corner, but Nightshades is staying side by side with him. That Haas car, I do believe he won out in that little battle there. So now Nightshades just trying to stay close to Huntari, getting all the slipstream from that Haas that he can. But now Huntari trying to protect the bottom, and Nightshades will not be able to make the move this time.
Just as the commentating there, Tim, Huntari's coming on the back of MJ Coop, who's up 5 positions, so an absolute blistering start for MJ Coop. Now, MJ Coop sitting pretty way down in the drivers' tables. He'll be after some serious points today. MJ Coop this season has been doing no assists, and me and James have been begging for a really good result for MJ Coop. So I've got everything crossed that MJ Coop can keep this form and get some seriously good points this race.
So far, so good, though, as he's running in the 4th position just outside of a podium. He can see the podium, but he's not within the DRS range, and it will be activated this next lap. So MJ Coop, if he wants to have a chance to get to Rimac, he's going to have to eat away at that 1.5-second gap.
He will indeed, mate. Now, Arby's is half a second behind Mashiro, and likewise, Rimac is sitting 7/10. So it looks like, I don't know if these guys are just biding the time, but yeah, it looks like they kind of just settled as... Oh, actually, Rimac's just taken a massive chunk out of Arby's, and he's right on the back of his gearbox now. DRS is now enabled, Tim. We have now got DRS.
So that is going to help Rimac get by Arby's here.
Oh,
not sure where he's going to try, but...
Meg Luckby in Sector 2, I think it is, mate.
Yeah, it looks like it is. He is going slow. So Meg Luckby, bad luck for him, unfortunately. His teammate running 4th, but himself, not so much.
So that has now just reset the field. The accordion is coming back into the central position. I don't think anybody will pit on the softs unless they want to do 23 laps on hards. It is doable, but this is what I was saying before we started, Tim. 3 lap into soft stint, I think you're then wasting your life for your tyres and you're not getting enough grip from the hards at the end of the race. So I don't imagine we'll see many people come in the pits, other than, of course, Meg Luppy to get a wing change.
We'll have to wait and see. I can maybe see a few drivers trying to go in the hards and staying out and maybe risking it for a biscuit. Maybe Jacob trying to do that, but
I think
with
Jacob
him being
maybe.
in 13th now, yeah, see, with him being in 13th now, he's got to make the right decisions.
I think if he did do that, he would have to look after those hards in the first 10 laps and let people pit and then use the life of the tyre at the end of the race.
And now you might be onto something there, Dan. That would be a pretty good strategy. Now, the one thing, though, that I feel might prevent him from pitting is he's got only 2 laps on the soft tires, so they're still fairly fresh, but there are a few drivers pitting in front of him, and Jacob does pit, so let's see what tires he decides to put on.
I'm super intrigued to see what happens now. Suspense is killing me.
Just waiting to see. It looks like Mashiro is going for the medium tires, so maybe he's going to go for mediums and then put softs on later on. Not sure what's going on.
Yeah, I think you could be right there. I mean, there could always be another. Lipinski's gone on hards. Mr. Steen's gone on hards. Jacob's gone on mediums. Yeah, so there's a couple of drivers that are trying to capitalise on that early safety car and running those hards to the end. Now, of course, we will have probably another 1 or 2 laps behind the safety car, which will improve that tyre life of the hards. So yeah, super interesting stuff. Now I've got 3 different tyre compounds on the racing circuit.
Yeah, and that is one thing that is going to help these drivers a lot, is that the safety car, as you said, is going to be out for another 2 laps. So we might be able to see these drivers stretch it a little bit longer than what they normally could, but that's also assuming that we don't get another safety car, or even a virtual safety car, as that can help the tyre wear just a little bit too.
Yeah, but I mean, the other thing as well is that the soft runners are still going to be, 9/10, if not a second quicker a lap on those soft tyres. So they are going to get out a bit of a lead. And then they're going to go on to mediums and do, 15, 16 laps maybe on the mediums. So you can't discredit any of the guys on the softs because they're still at the front. And
they do have fairly fresh tires because, even though it says 3 on the board, I really kind of like to think that it's more of, 2.2 laps on the tires instead of 3, because as you were saying, with the safety car significantly helping that and prolonging the life of the tires. So with these drivers up front, it looks like the top 7 did not pit. So with fairly fresh tires on them, I would imagine that we're going to not see them pit for at least another, 5 laps?
Yeah, easy. Yeah, I mean, I've just checked him. It's the front 9 haven't pitted.
Oh, you're right, actually. That is 9, as it looks like Falkigot and Ferocious Dan both started on the medium tires, and so far it's worked out for them as they've worked their ways up to 8th and 9th, respectively.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I have picked up on as well, though, Tim, with Jacob's pace, his natural pace, and the hard tyres not being very good at the safety car restart, I think Jacob could very well jump 2 positions in 3 corners here.
I could see it as well. He has shown that he is faster than some of these guys back here. Of course, he is starting alongside the drivers that pitted ahead of him. But remember, he was the pole sitter. It was just going into turn 1, there was some contact that spun him around, so that's how he got back to the 13th position. Now he's just trying to play catch-up and work his way up through there. And I was very intrigued to see what tires that he would put on that car, if not at all. I honestly expected him to go for the hards, but as you said, if his pace just isn't where it needs to be on the hard tires, then the mediums would be the second best option to try to stay out as long as possible and look after these medium tires. While I don't see him going all the way to the end on those tires, he could probably prolong their life just a little bit more to try to stay out and gain a few positions.
Yeah, definitely, mate, definitely. It's definitely worth watching the 2 drivers, Mr. Steen and Lipinski, that have come out on the hard, so that's going to be super fun to see where they actually end up in the race. Just looking down the order now. See, I'm also wondering, Tim, could you even push the mediums to 19 laps?
That is one thing that... Go ahead, Dan.
If you could push softs to 10, 11, or even 12, I think mediums could even push 20 laps.
See, I do believe that is a possibility, and that's one thing that I've been thinking about as well, is assuming that there is not another safety car or virtual safety car in this race, Jacob might be able to push those tires to 20 laps and stay out and go to the end. However, I think that is going to be a very big ask, and the only way that that could work is with another safety car. But with another safety car, that would be a moot point to stay out on such old tires.
Okay, safety car's in, Tim. Safety car is in. I'll be watching from the front. And they're going. They are away. As Rimac. Oh, one of the... I think we've lost... was that Meg Luppy at the background that just pulled off on the circuit? But yeah, we've got a nice clean getaway, Tim. I can't see any position changes as of yet.
Jacob has actually increased his position already by 1, and he is trying to chase down Lipinski and the Haas machine just in front of him. However, he's being very patient and trying to be cautious here, and probably the best move that he can do right now is just be patient and watch Lipinski and see where he's weak and see if he can get by him anywhere on the circuit. The DRS is not activated yet, so that's not going to help him at this time. However, those medium tires versus the hards might be enough of an advantage, and it looks like he did get a good run on Lipinski. He's going to try to go on the outside. They're in Sector 2. Not sure if he's going to be able to do it. Lipinski kind of throws a little bit of a block on him, so Jacob tries to go on the inside, but not able to do it. Approaching Maggots and Beckett's now, but Jacob just not able to get by Lipinski at this time.
Yeah, I think he'll probably do it coming out of Beckett's. He's going to get a bit of a slipstream down there. Down the hangar straight towards Stowe. Is he close enough though? No, I don't think he's close enough. I think he's going to need the help of the DRS in a few laps' time.
And I'm sure that he cannot wait for the DRS to be activated. However, just in front of him is a battle between the Toro Rosso and Ferocious Dan. Wow, there was some contact there.
That's helped Jacob, mate. That's helped Jacob. That's pushed Lipinski into the front end of Jacob, and that means that Jacob's about to go past him. No, not quite. Wow, Lipinski's really fighting hard. So yeah, we just saw Ferocious Dan and Mr. Steen going, exchanging paint and sticking those elbows out. That meant that Lipinski was just pushed a little bit towards Jacob's front wing. They didn't make contact, but it did make him a little bit susceptible to move. Now, again, he's not quite close enough to make a move. So maybe these hards aren't as bad round Silverstone as we first thought, Tim. Oh, nah, Lipinski's lagging, I think. Ah, right. So, it might not be Lipinski, but someone is experiencing lag, unfortunately.
Yeah, a little bit of communication issue there with Lipinski's car, so we might have to check in on that later. Meanwhile, Jacob is just going to try to get by him and do everything he can. Going to go take a look, though, at the battle between Foki Got and TG Mashiro, and it does look like also that Foki Got is starting to catch CPI Alex and the Toro Rosso ahead of him. CPI Alex, of course, on old soft tires, so those tires are probably starting to show their age, and it looks like he's about to be swallowed by the Ferrari and McLaren behind him, but he's holding on so far.
Yeah, that is, Tim, that is. Now, CP Alex is a very good racer, as is Foki Gord. I would say these two are pretty well matched. DRS is now enabled, Tim, so could this be the point when we see Jacob pounce? However, just running out to the front, guys, we've actually not covered Arby's, who's really doing well out in front. He's a tenth and a half in front of Rimac. Well, Rimac's choosing some good lines as well, so these two at the front, while they're battling out, this is really helping MJ Coupe, who's now up into a podium position.
Yeah, and I'm sure that he wants to stay there. Of course, he'd probably rather be about 2 places ahead. But watching the battle between Arby's and Rimac, it's starting to shape up to be a battle for the ages. Arby's doing a good job to hang on to that car and keep Rimac at bay. But Rimac is going to have to think about pit strategy here soon, because they're approaching 7 laps on the soft tires. And under normal circumstances, they might be able to take them to 10. So after having a safety car, they'll probably last another lap or 2 or so. And Rimac has picked up a time penalty, 3 seconds for multiple warnings, so that is going to hurt his chances significantly here today.
It might do, Tim, but one thing I forgot to tell you about F2 performance, our drivers absolutely love penalties, mate. So, it's a bit early, but I would say by lap 19, you're going to be checking the penalties for me. You'll need I can't even say that. You'll need a calculator, mate, put it that way. As we just see in the background, I think it was Fucky Good or Nightshades peeling off into the pits. Oh, it was Nightshades. So with DRS enabled, who are we going to see moving up and down? As Frosh's down, try to chase down Mashiro and Fucky Good. As we just see, Fucky Good and Mashiro changing places. Ooh, awfully close there. So Mashiro's now back in front of Fucky Good, but I believe Fucky Good's going to come back at him again. Yeah, so another interesting battle going on. So we've got Arby's and Rymac. We've also got Mashiro and Fucky Good. We've got Jacob's got past the Penske. Oh no, Jacob's off! Jacob's off! It looked like he got past him, and then there may have been contact, Tim. I'm not sure what happened. I didn't catch it in time.
Jacob, he did get by Lipinski, and it looked like he might have just drove into the corner a little bit too hard, so he missed his line and went too wide, went off into the grass, and then by that time he was just along for the ride, but he did recover. No damage on that car, but he did drop back down to 13th, so unfortunate for Jacob. He's going to have to climb that ladder again.
Yeah, I was just about to say it's like snakes and ladders, Tim, but yeah, you hit the nail on the head there. But that has actually given us a bit of a decent battle. I've got Jacob, Matty and Lipinski all fighting. DRS is enabled now, and those cars. Oh, I've just seen Matty make a move around the outside. Oh, they touch! Oh, Matty and Lipinski touch. That might be another safety car, Tim. No, he's got going, and looks like he's got a wing intact as well. So it looks like Lipinski's got away with that. He did a half pirouette and slammed sideways into the rubber Amco barrier, avoiding big damage, so very lucky there for Lipinski.
There was contact between Jacob and Matty, so Jacob went off the track again, going into what I believe was turn 1. Perhaps, yes, I think it was. Matty just got into Jacob and pushed him off the track. Not sure what happened there, but Jacob took out a sign marker barrier, so Jacob in 11th after being able to work his way up to, I think, about 9th or 10th due to pit stop. So Jacob is just having a terrible time trying to make his way through the field.
Yeah, I mean, we've still, it's unfortunate, we saw a bit of action there from a few drivers, but we've still got the likes of Arby's, MJ Coop, Reshker to pit, and CP Alex, Fucky Good, and Ferocious Dan. Everyone else has pitted. Now, TTG Mashiro sitting in 4th place. He's only a second. Oh, you see Jacob on the back of Delange, he's going to make a move. Not quite close enough to make a move there. Yeah, going back to Mashiro, Tim, he's actually sitting really pretty in 4th place. He's already made a stop, so that could potentially be our race winner right there.
That it could, and with 6 laps on those medium tires, not sure if he's going to try to make him last to the end or not. Probably not, but nonetheless, as you said, he's sitting very pretty, looking good for a win. Yeah,
I mean, if you think once Arby's pits, oh, there you go, he's pitting out, you'll see that that gap really extend now, so he'll probably get up to around 14 seconds once everyone else pits. No, that was just an overtake. I thought that was a pit. Mashiro's just got past. Oh, MJ Coop's pitted, sorry. Where's Arby's gone? Sorry. Yeah, Arby's is there. I do apologise. So that's because of pitting. Yeah, you might not be able to make these mediums go the full distance, but you never know what's going to happen, Tim. There could always be a safety car or incidents or even a virtual safety car.
Yeah, that there could. So TG Mashiro, while he's in a good position, just isn't out of the woods yet. He's still going to have to ride. He's still going to have to make sure that he can keep those guys behind him. However, what this does do is, considering that Fucky got behind him, he's got a second between the two, and he has old mediums on. So Mashiro, with slightly newer tires, can take this opportunity to try to save his tires at least a little bit, to try to make them last just a little bit longer.
Yeah, I mean, the positive for Mashiro is he's in clean air. especially coming through the likes of Maggots and Beckett's, where if you're close to the driver, you lose that downforce, the car starts moving across the surface of the track more, obviously adding to the wear and adding to the degradation. So yeah, the clean air is playing into Mashiro's hands. Not so good for Fugigord and Ferocious Dan, who are chasing each other. Although looking at P4, Tim, we've got Mr. Steen on those hard tyres. Now only needs to do 14 laps on those hards to the end of the race.
And I think that could very well be a possibility, because he's only got 8 laps on him right now, and he's trying to chase down Ferocious Dan. And as you were saying earlier before the broadcast, was that, once those tires get a certain amount of wear on them, they seem to really get sticky and have some grip. So after 8 laps on those tires, I'd say that they're starting to come alive. And it's showing as he is starting to cut into that gap to Ferocious Dan, who is on old mediums and might have to think about a pit stop sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, you just saw then how much Mr. Steen pulled up to the back of Ferocious Dan in a corner. So yeah, now that those hard tyres have had a few laps of punishment, they're loosened up, they're nice and warm, they are getting sticky, and they do get stickier and stickier. So let's just ride on board with them as we go through Maggots and Beckett's. We'll just see how sticky they are compared to Ferocious Dan. See, Ferocious Dan's getting a little bit weavy there. We just see how much the car's moving on the rear axle. Mostly DRS will open up for Steen. Oh, he could be close enough here. Is he going to be close enough? He pulls to the right, take the inside line. Oh, my hat was in my mouth there. There's touch.
There was contact.
Oh, no. That was unfortunate from Mr. Steen and Ferocious Dan.
But a good job from Mr. Steen to hang on to that car and minimize the damage. I don't think he got any damage at all unless he got some damage from the initial contact. But now look at this. Jacob behind him trying to do everything he can to get by Mr. Steen. And he is showing him that, hey, I'm in a championship battle, so I'm here. I'm going to try to move by you. And Jacob, with old mediums, I'm not sure if he's going to be able to take the battle to Mr. Steen as much as maybe he wants to, but he looks like he's maybe a little bit faster.
Yeah, I would imagine the pace between Jacob and Mr. Steen is considerably different. But I think this may be hurting Jacob. The more he pushes on those mediums, the harder it's going to be for him to hang on to it at the end. But we could be proven wrong here, Tim.
We'll have to wait and see, but it is only 0.3 of a second separating these two drivers on the track for the time being. Of course, Jacob trying to live in the slipstream of Mr. Steen's car for as long as possible to try to help him getting close, but it's almost like he's being stalled out by dirty air. He's going to have to use the DRS to get by him, and going through Maggots and Beckett's now, I do believe that he's going to get a DRS, so coming up very shortly, so that might be the chance that Jacob has been waiting for, but he didn't get a good line through there. However, he still stayed fairly close to Mr. Steen, and he has activated the DRS. It looks like Mr. Steen is moving to the outside to let Jacob by. There goes Jacob on the inside, and he will clear him with relative ease, move Jacob into the 4th position.
Yeah, cracking stuff there, Tim. Really good stuff. I'm just looking further down the line. We've also got Delange, who's got past Matty. Matty's now into 7th place. So Delange's up into 6th place. So it's interesting to see as well. We've got Arby's, Huntari, MJ Coupe, all sitting 9th, 10th and 11th respectively on fresh mediums going to the end. Now, they're obviously going to pressurise everyone in front who doesn't pit. So the more and more we go into this race, the more and more I think that the likes of Matty, Delange, Jacob, Ferocious Dan, Fugigord, and maybe even Mashiro may well have to stop again. Or lose positions.
We'll have to wait and see. We'll be close.
Just looking down now, we've got Matty. Oh, I thought Matty was going to get past Delange again. So these going at it, left, right and centre. Just saying before in qualifying, I really hope Matty can score a point in this race. He's looking very competitive when racing Delange there.
Yeah, going side by side, well, there for a moment, trying to go on the outside of him, but not able to do it, going through Maggots and Beckett's. And, that's really not a corner that you can pass in very easily anyway. Delange kind of hitting the grass there just a little bit, so that might slow him down a smidge. But Matty, using the DRS, trying to get close to him, is not going to be able to make a move this time as he's running out of straightaway, but he was able to eat into the gap that he lost going into the corner.
Yeah, just checking as well, Tim. I've just checked with Matty's battery. he's almost depleted his battery. He's just recharging now. He's up to 15%, but he was hitting about the 4-5% mark.
Yeah, and I am watching that now. He is trying to do everything he can to conserve that, but it's so very hard to conserve the battery sometimes because, the best way to do it is obviously to, take it to mode 0 so that it's not using any power at all. But since it's using no power at all, you are severely underpowered, so you can't really do that for a long time.
Yeah, that's right, Tim. Yeah, I mean, the ERS around... Oh, Arbis nearly ran to the back of Untari there. Yeah, the ERS around Silverstone, it's a very battery-hungry circuit. There's only really 2 places you can really conserve or afford to conserve energy. Maggots and Beckett's, you could really maybe save some there. And then obviously Lovefield, coming round the Lovefield curve. And then maybe around the loop as well, the loop section. Probably the only 3 places you can really save. Otherwise you're going to be under attack from drivers that have got a bigger battery.
It's just one of the many things that these drivers have to manage. We talk a lot about tire wear, but it's not always about tire wear, as you have rightly pointed out, because sometimes it is the ERS that matters as well. And of course, they still have to worry about racing, about driving, about staying on their line, hitting their marks, not hitting other competitors. It's a lot that they have to deal with as Delange goes into the pit, so he's decided that 13 laps on his tires is enough for him.
Yeah, so that could be an indication that the likes of Mashiro, Fukigord, Frostistan and Jacob could very well be coming in again. But yeah, just to add to that, like you're saying, Tim, there's also the fuel mix as well. The drivers can up the fuel, lower the fuel. So it's almost like patting your head and rubbing your stomach with what you can do with the car. And it's the drivers that get all those knitted together correctly in a race that often come out on top.
I'd say one driver that is starting to get correct with that is Jacob, as he makes a move on Ferocious Dan going on the inside. He cleared him with relative ease. It looks like Ferocious Dan's going to try to make a move, though, on him again. Not able to do it, but he is there and looking just not quite fast enough. And that would explain it because Jacob has slightly newer tires than Ferocious Dan, so that might just be the extra oomph that Jacob needed to get by Ferocious Dan. However, that Toro Rosso is Jacob is off the track. Jacob is off. Not sure what happened there. Did you see it, Dan?
I was on board watching it, Tim, and I think he just missed his braking or missed his apex. He's got no damage or anything like that. So yeah, I just think he may be struggling with. He has been pushing for quite a few laps now, Tim. So those rear tyres might be just slightly overheating, because that now brings Mr. Steen onto the back of Jacob. He's having a good sniff. Yeah, I think it could just be a case of overheating tyres, Tim.
And that could have went a lot worse for Jacob than what it did. So Ferocious Dan has ducked down into the pits, so he's decided he's had enough. Also on, well, actually 15, not 13, but 15 laps on those medium tires. So Jacob now with 13 laps on his tires, and we saw Delange pit with 13 laps on the medium tires. We'll see if Jacob decides to do the same. If and when Jacob pits, and I'd say it's almost a given at this point that he will have to, what tire strategy do you think he's going to go with? What compound would you put on?
Softs, definitely softs, all day long.
And I have to say I agree with that.
We've now only got 9 laps to go. You can seriously lean on softs. With a light fuel load, you can lean on those softs and push them as hard as you want.
And we're seeing a lot of the drivers who have pitted actually elect to take the softs. Matty, Ferocious Dan, and Delange, all 3 have taken the soft tires, so they're going to try to work their way up through the field as best as they can. However, the leaders have yet to pit. Mr. Steen, he could, probably realistically go to the end on those hard tires. I'm just not sure if he's going to want to.
No, I don't think he'd want to, but if he keeps his head about him, just doesn't push him too hard now, I think we'll probably see Mr. Steen and Rymack out.
Hey, Jacob has spun! Oh! Jacob spun! Oh, my goodness.
Oh, I was Megluppy spinning as well also. Was there contact between Jacob and Megluppy?
No,
Megluppy's lapped. He's lapped, yeah, so I'm not sure if that was accident avoidance by Megluppy, but we did see Megluppy come round on the left-hand side of the screen on Jacob's screen. But yeah, good spot there, Tim. Well done, mate. So I think it is overheating tyres for Jacob. That's 2 incidents we've kind of seen now from Jacob.
I'm honestly surprised that he did not pit that time. Apparently he has more confidence in those tires than I do.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you there, Tim. Mashiro's on 14 lap old mediums now, with Mr. Steen now up into 2nd place. So I think Rimac must have been caught out there as well, because yeah, he's nearly 10 seconds behind Mr. Steen. I think it was closer before.
Yeah, and Rimac is having to deal with Huntari behind him, who's trying to close that gap and get by him. Huntari is also dealing with the Alfa Romeo of Arby's behind him, who is even closer than Huntari is to Rimac. And Rimac, is that Jacob again?
That's Jacob
is
again,
off the track again.
Yeah, that's overheating tyres. It's got to be. Yeah, he's just been pushing those tyres. Like I said, Tim, when you do push those tyres and when you're racing right on the back of someone's gearbox, it really does take the downforce away from the car. The tyres. Arby's 5-second time penalty, ignoring yellow flags. That's unfortunate. But yeah, it really overheats the tyres, especially when towards the end of their life. I really don't know why Jacob isn't pitting. I know he's going to try and save some points, but I don't think he's going to be competitive enough to even get points here. He's going to get attacked by MJ Coop and Smokey Gold, Lipensky, even CP Alex. So it's damage limitation at the minute, Tim.
Yeah, meanwhile, Huntari made a really, really gutsy move on the outside of Rimac to take third place. So a good move by Huntari to move him onto the podium position. However, going back to Jacob, take the hint that your tires are trying to tell you. He is definitely in 6th. 15 laps on the medium tires. He's gonna have to pit sooner.
Yeah, I mean, saying that though, Mashiro, he's still 11 seconds in front of Mr. Steen on 15 lap old mediums, and he's staying out. I mean,
good.
I'm trying to think, could he maybe come in, use those 11 seconds to his advantage, put some softs on, and then be even, you know, super light fuel on soft tyres, or do you think he's going to try and just use that 9 seconds as a bit of a buffer and try and go to the end?
I think that he's going to try to use the 9 seconds as a buffer and go to the end. It's going to be close, though, but we're going to see what happens. However, there is still a pretty good battle going on between Rimac, Huntari, and Arby's.
There is, as we go through Maggots and Beckett's now. Just seeing Huntari is not taking Maggots that well, because Rimac's pushing up as he comes through Beckett's and gets DRS as they come down. Is he going to be close enough for a move? No, not quite. Not quite as they come down to Stowe. Yeah, you just see Tim as well, when they're coming through Stowe, they tend to keep out of the back drift of each other. It's something to watch out. Just coming through Club now. The best place to probably watch this is through the next tight section, which is the loop, or the village, as we like to call it. Which are the next 3 corners coming up now. Let's see where they position the car. Yeah, see, Rimac tends to be a little bit later turning in, staying out that dirty air.
Yeah, now it did look like Huntari was able to gain on Rimac that time. So Huntari, as you said, having trouble with Maggots and Beckett's through the second sector. Rimac looks like he struggles through the first sector, so that might be enough for Huntari to keep him at bay. It's just going to be a matter of how quick Rimac is, where Huntari is not, as you said, through Maggots and Beckett's.
Tim, I don't believe this, but Mashiro is now extending his lead, almost pushing 12 seconds now on those 16-lap-old mediums.
Well, he was fast. We saw him in qualifying. He was very fast, so that just goes to show that he knows what he's doing around Silverstone, and apparently those medium tires, he has been able to save them, or they just haven't wore as much as maybe we expected him to. So at this point, with only 6 laps to go, I don't believe that Mashiro is going to pit without a safety car. Obviously, with a safety car, it's a no-brainer, but for it to go green, I'd say that he just stays out and tries to risk these tires, which we were saying you could probably stretch them to 20 laps with the safety car that we had a few laps ago. If he's been able to conserve under green flag conditions, then Mashiro should be sitting pretty.
Yeah, I mean, like we said before about the battery deployment and the fuel deployment, he could very well just be turning everything down in the twisty sections, saving those tyres. It could also be on a very open differential setting. Or as we're just seeing, CP Alex having a look down the side of Lipensky, not quite close enough. But yeah, as we all know, an open differential setup means you don't have as much traction, but because the wheels can turn at different rotational speeds, there's less wear on the tyres, so he very well could be running a very open setup on differential and saving those tyres.
While you're watching Alex, I'm watching Rimac, who is trying to chase down Atari. It looked like he was gaining on him there, but just not able to do it. It seems like Rimac is starting to struggle a lot. Maybe he's worn out his tires a little faster than the Haas has. So Hatari is so far doing a good job of keeping him at bay. Arby's, meanwhile, he has started to drop off significantly. He's over a second behind Rimac as they go through Maggots and Beckett, so he will not get DRS coming out of this corner, but Hatari actually kind of went back to Rimac a little bit there, so only about half a second separating these two drivers. Rimac will have the DRS coming out of Maggots and Beckett, as you can see, but he's not close enough to make a move just yet, but he gets fairly close to Hatari, so he might be able to do something with it here in a few laps if he can keep that pace.
Yeah, let's just hope that they don't outbreak each other and take a wing off or anything, because we want to see this fight go all the way to the end. Okay, just coming past for another lap now. Let's see what these two can do on this lap, see if we can see any position changes. As RB's chasing down these two as well. Arby's is on the fresher tyre as well, but he's not able to push up like Rimac has pushed up to Huntari. This could be a phenomenal outing for Mr. Steen. Let's just put position change on for our viewers. Yeah, Mr. Steen's up 3 positions. Rimac's starting, he's at where he started. Yeah, Fuki Gold up 8 positions at the minute. It's a fantastic outing for him so far.
That it is. And especially for him starting at the very back of the field, because remember, he did not run a qualifying lap, so he has worked his way up from what was essentially 16th place. Now, while you were talking about that, CPI Alex tried to make a move on Lipinski and actually made a little bit of contact with him going through the first sector. So Alex has since lost a significant amount of track position to Lipinski. He's been able to stay in the 10th position, but the gap is now over a second, and he's having to deal with Nightshades on his back.
Yeah, it's been a absolute cracking race. I mean, we've seen some serious action, haven't we, Tim? There's been some mini battles. The field has been split definitively in 2 with a front pack and a back pack. But just looking at the mini-map now, that front pack has actually quite opened up quite considerably. The rear pack is still kind of bunched up a little bit. But yeah, the field has spread out so much for most of the race. We were seeing like a 2-headed snake almost at either end of the circuit. But yeah, it's really opened up now. And all the drivers are spread over almost 2 full sectors.
Yeah, and it really has. So that just goes to show, you know, that what pit stops and safety cars can do to a field. And, you know, one driver, though, that I'm going to point out that is kind of in this mix of a battle in the backpack is Lipinski, who he's being caught by Alex now, yet again. But he has 19 laps on his hard tires. The only other driver is Mr. Steen running in second with 19 laps on the hard tires. So it looks like the hard tires might have been an okay gamble. However, it's working out better for Mr. Steen than it is Lipinski.
Yeah, I mean, I think Mr. Steen's had the benefit of clean air at times. I think for the first 6 laps when he came back after the safety car, he put his hands on. Yeah, the guys kind of set off. Jacob went off for that battle, and that kind of released him to kind of sit on his own and just you know, sit pretty. You know, Jacob went off flying off to attack positions, and he was able to just sit there and just do his own little race.
Yeah, and Jacob running in the 6th position at the moment. Is that enough to clinch the championship if he finishes there?
No, I don't think it is, mate. Just bear with me. I will check on that now.
Meanwhile, Ferocious Dan trying to make a move on the outside of Nightshades, but not able to do it. So Nightshades is going to hold on to the 11th position, and Ferocious Dan trying to make the move. He actually lost a lot more time than what he would have had if he just went through the corner behind Nightshades. So unfortunate for Ferocious Dan. However, Nightshades has his sights set on CPI Alex. He sends it, and he might just be able to get by Alex. They are fighting side by side and wheel to wheel through the first sector here, but Alex hung on to the 10th position.
Great move there by Alex. I just caught the end of that as you were saying it. And going on to Jacob, Tim, I think it is just enough. Depending on what happens with penalties and whether MJ Coupe can get in front of him, I believe it's 10 points for 6th place. 16. The 16 was, it's 15, 12, 10. No, I think he needs 5th place, actually, mate.
He needs 5th.
7, 6. Yes, 5th at least. Let's just
Well, it doesn't look like he's going to get it that time because MJ Coop has went by him.
Yeah, and Fucky Good's got the fastest lap as well, so Jacob doesn't even get that either. Wow, look at these Toro Rosso boys really going for it at this around the P10 position. Really are going for it. Lipinski back up into 9th now. But yeah, the Ferocious Dan and CP Alex really going for it along with Nightshades. Fantastic stuff here. Lap 25-26, just about to conclude the 11th round of Season 10 Formula 2 Equal Performance. Mashiro, absolute fantastic race today, as is Mr. Steen and Huntari. The likes of Rymac, Arby's, MJ Coop, even Jacob, who's come from the at the into the start, come from the back. It's been an eventful race. 1.5 laps to go, Tim, until we can find out exactly what's going to happen. MJ Coop's now up in the 6th place, so we've missed that, Tim. I do apologise. So MJ Coop now up in the 6th place with Jacob in 7th. That has pretty much sealed it. So if it finishes as it is, we will definitely go to Monaco for the title decider.
And I'm sure that Jacob is mad about that, but nonetheless, still a decent points day for him if he can hang on for the 7th position. However, we still got a bit of a battle for that final position spot, and even for 9th, as Lipinski's trying to chase down CPI Alex.
Wow, so exciting stuff. Yeah, he's really close. Well, it's chewing on the back of his gearbox. Been such an exciting race, especially with such an iconic track as Silverstone. What can you even say? The F2 boys have not disappointed again. They always do us proud. It's been an absolute fantastic outing. And of course, we get to take it into the final race of the season for Monaco for the title decider.
Yeah, and Lipinski was able to make the move, so Lipinski moved up into 9th. Now Alex is at risk at losing 10th to Nightshades. However, I do believe Alex is going to hold it off, barring any penalties, and finish in 10th.
Tim, we've also got Fucky Good on the back of Jacob as well. He's having a go for 7th place. And we've still got just over half a lap to go to make this happen. He's got DRS, but Jacob also has DRS, so that negates that.
Yep. And just as I say that, Alex has actually not only hung on for 10th, but he's going to at least run right now in 9th and might be able to finish in 9th if he can hang on for another half lap.
Wow, fantastic stuff. Of course, the exciting thing about the F2 guys is we're not entirely sure who's got as many penalties. We normally do check that, but it's a little bit too late to check that, so it's going to be an awfully good surprise when they cross the line. So just on board with TGG Mashiro, who's drove an absolute flawless race today. Just coming around the last few corners now. He's going to come through Club Corner to come across the line. We will count it down and see what happens as they cross the line. So Mashiro comes across the line and takes 1st place. Mr. Steen in 2nd place, 23 lap old hard tyres. Huntari about to come across in 3rd place for now. Arbiz takes 4th. Rymac takes 5th. MJ Coop, absolute brilliant race for MJ Coop. One of his best. Jacob does get 6th, beats MJ Coop on penalties. Fucky Good takes 8th. CP Alex in 9th place once he comes across the line. I've got a feeling we might get a few changes here. CP Alex, Lipinski takes 10th. Yeah, it looks like Lipinski is taking that final position. Nightshades 11th, Delangi in 12th, Matty in 13th, Ferocious Dan in 14th for now. Just waiting for Reska to come across the line to finalise that. Looks like Reska's just lagging behind a little bit. So there you go, guys. So, Tim, can I leave you to do the rundown of the order while I try and get the guys into the podium box, the commentary box?
Certainly. Congratulations, though, to Mashiro for his 1st place run. He almost had the pole in the qualifying, just not quite able to do it. But nonetheless, it's not where you start. It is where you finish, and he's shown today that he, in fact, did finish in 1st. He had the car to beat, and he showed it with a lot of passion. So your official running orders will be able to get you here in just a moment. Our official running order for the British Grand Prix for the F2 is TGG Mashiro in first, Mr. Steen in second, Hatari in third, Arby's in fourth, Rymac in fifth, Jacob in sixth, MJ Coop in seventh, Folky Got into the 8th position, 9th is CPI Alex, Lipinski in 10th, 11th is Nightshades, 12th is Delange, YNWA Maddie is in 13th, Ferocious Dan in 14th, 15th is Reshka, and Meg Luckby rounding out the field in the 16th position. So, unfortunate for Meg Luckby, but maybe he'll be able to have a better race come Monaco next week.
Yeah, just quickly, as we were doing that as well, Tim, I just checked, and it's 6 points that I believe Jacob got, so not enough to clinch the title, unfortunately, so it does continue on.
So Monaco, it will be a thriller for more reasons than one next week, with not only a race to be decided, but a championship as well.
Is that Jacob CHR? Yep, there we go, that's Jacob. Sorry about this, guys, if you're listening on the stream, just inviting our guys in. Oh no, wrong one, sorry. What am I doing?
But what a race. I will say that much. What a thriller of a race.
It was an amazing race. It always is with the F2 boys though, Tim. They always do put on a good show. Can't quite find Mashiro. So Tim, we've got Jacob in the party. I've invited him in just to have a quick chat with him while I'm searching the other guys. So if you want to ask Jacob some questions while I try and get the guys into the box, mate, you can crack on, bud.
Alright, well, first of all, Jacob, make sure that you are able to hear us and that you allow your voice to be shared. Go over to the party settings and you can go ahead and say always allow.
Yeah, we can hear him.
Can you repeat? I couldn't hear you from the start.
Make sure that we can hear you. Obviously, you can hear us. Just make sure that if you haven't already, that you go over to the party settings and make sure that you allow your voice to be shared and make it always allow so that we can hear you and so that the stream can hear you.
Already done.
Alright, so Jacob, a good race from you. Not quite enough to clinch the championship today. You got 6 points. You needed 9 to clinch. So you're going to be taking the championship battle to Monaco next week with your teammate RG, who unfortunately could not race today for technical reasons. How does that feel and how much pressure is on you now going into the next race?
I thought I clinched the championship, but I must have done something wrong.
2 secs, let me double check.
Yeah. The race was quite tough. I got a bad start. Then we were 4 side by side almost, I think. I was the unlucky one and spun out. Then I knew my race was almost done by then, so I tried doing the one stop with the medium from lap 4, which was quite tough. They were 85% in last lap, so I was just cautious. And then I had my front wing open for about 10 laps, so I spun 5 times or whatever. That was so annoying.
If you could do it again, would you maybe go back and pit for another set of tires there toward the end of the race, or do you think that it would have really made a difference at all?
If my front wing had worked like it was supposed to, I would have definitely been P3 for sure. So I would have stayed out.
Good stuff there, mate. I've just checked the standings as well, Jacob. Going into this race, you were 23 points ahead of RG. There were 32 points on the board if you got first place twice with fastest lap. And you got, was it 5th place or 6th place, I believe, which means it's 6 points, which then puts you to 29 points ahead of him. So technically, although you probably will win, he doesn't officially win the title today.
Yeah, there's only one race left, though.
Yeah. I mean, so
you probably can't gain 29 points, but
yeah. So, oh no, yeah, right, yeah. How stupid of me. Yeah, you are right.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you have got the title. I do apologise, mate. Bit of a blonde moment there from myself. So yeah, congratulations on the title, Jacob.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, but it has been a very tough season right from the get-go. Had a very tough start to the season, but then I gained some momentum in the middle of the season by winning a couple of races in a row and a couple of podiums here and there. So very satisfied with this season.
Yeah, well done, mate. It's been an almost flawless season for you, mate. But just before we sign off, we're going to hear from some of the other drivers. I believe we've got Mr. Steen. Mr. Steen, are you there, mate?
Yes, I hear you. Yes.
Mate, what an outing that was for you on those hard tyres from the safety car to the end. Brilliant outing for you, mate.
Yeah, it was a really good strategy. I thought the pit lane is really long on this track, like 30 seconds or so. So I thought let's pit because my first corner went really wrong, went from P5 to P somewhere last, and I thought let's pit and see where it goes, and it went really well. So yeah, really happy with that.
Yeah, good stuff, mate. You really made those hards last really well, mate. So congratulations on that, mate. Hopefully you can show us this form continuing into Monaco next week.
Yes, I also hope so. First season without assists, so had to adjust and to get a feeling in it. But I think it's at the place where I want it. So let's see what happens next week.
Good stuff. So obviously Jacob's just taken the championship today, the Drivers' Championship. So do you want anything to say to our newly crowned champion?
Yeah, congratulations, mate. You deserved it. You had a great season, so I hope you enjoyed it, and I think you will be to F1 next year, so maybe we will meet in the future and can race some additional races.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks. Yeah, I will be going to. I don't know if I can confirm it or not, but I will be going to F1 this season.
Good stuff, Jacob. Well, we wish you all the best of luck in your new endeavours, mate. But of course, we have got one more race to go, which is of course Monaco. So guys, bring your A game next week, and we'll sign this season off with an absolute massive bang, like you have helped us do all the way through. So guys, thank you for your effort this season. We've got one more race to go. So yeah, I'll let you guys get off and enjoy your titles and your victories and your podiums. So congratulations, guys. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you hopefully next week on the podiums.
Thank you.
Yeah, see you
Till next week.
Till next week, guys. So there you go. Tim, what an absolute amazing race. Apart from my math skills not being on form today, it was quite embarrassing, so I apologise about that. But yeah, a new champion of Invictus Racing League.
Yeah, and congratulations to Jacob on that championship win. Congratulations to TTG Mashiro for the race win, and congratulations to all podium finishers. It was a really good race today. I enjoyed working with you, Dan. I enjoyed seeing this side of the fence of the F2 commentary team, and just to enjoy a great race at Silverstone.
Yeah, it was an absolute pleasure having you in the comms box with me, Tim. I would jump at the chance to do it again, mate. I really would.
And that I would too, Dan. It has been a pleasure.
Perfect, mate. Right, we're going to sign off now, guys. Thank you for watching. Of course, we've finished all the leagues for... Have we? Yes, we have. We're finished for everyone else. We're just a week late. So if you've been watching us live, obviously you can always go back and watch all the other shows. We've got F3 Equal Performance. We've got the F1. We've got the Xbox League. So get involved, guys. Go back. Check us out on... Invictus Racing League Twitch channel, as well as the YouTube channel that we've got going. But yeah, thanks for joining us, guys, and we'll catch you next week for the F2 performance in Monaco. Take care, guys, and good night.